Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH and TNA post show. They have quite an episode to talk about on the other end of this, but we've got ROH 100 to talk about over here. Lots of main roster crossover, a little bit of extra love. It felt like paid attention maybe today, but probably still a little weird for people's travel schedules with the weather that we've got, but plenty to talk about on this episode. Get in those super chats. Leave a thumbs up on this video if you would, more than any other show. We need it. We love it here. Thank you so much. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We're closing in on 124,000 followers, or subscribers rather, to this channel. So a lot of love for a lot of the interviews that we get. And it's for the notifications for your post shows that you know are on, because you watch wrestling too. But we do appreciate it. It really does help us out quite a bit. And we'll, of course, remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. A lot of confusion about who's got the scoops. I'll tell you who's got the scoops. We've got the scoops. Other people might be sneaking them, but they start here a lot of the times. And if they don't, we give proper credit. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But earlier, the news about Corey Graves returning to the NXT announce desk was scooped by our own Corey Brennan, who was here, along with some other NXT scoops like Jordan Grace being backstage, which is very cool. And plenty of other stuff, a lot more on the Ricky Starks front as well. Sean had reported a while ago about him not being one to turn down creative, and the news that he requested his release came out as well. So plenty going on at FightfulSelect.com. Only more to come with Royal Rumble season being around the corner, and Revolution and Grand Slam Australia, which started to take a little bit more shape yesterday on AEW Dynamite. Nice to see kind of a more evenly paced build. I think we still got 3 more Dynamites until then. So some good stuff happening there. So go ahead and subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Best $6 in the biz coming up. But I'm joined, as always, by the Honored 100, SP3 over here. SP3, how you doing?
I am doing well. I am very honored to be here on this honorable show of the honorable ring for the honorable 100. Yes, we're gonna shake.
It's so hard to do the mirror. Yeah. I only know how to do that because of touching tips. I only have a sense of direction because of touching tips, but
I was much better with the direction wise when I was in the UK. I'm going back. I can't get. I'm not you. I hate it in America now. It's weird, but
it's all reversed. It all went the other way.
I'm so used to talking to Kate at like 2 a.m. in the morning. Talking to her at 9 p.m. just feels way too normal. So I think I just
got up. Yeah.
Feels way too normal, so I think I'm gonna go back to that 2 a.m.
Go wreck your sleep schedule.
When you got less rants because I can't scream when my kids are asleep. So.
I think the most impressive was reviewing an ROH pay-per-view show when you were in the pay-per-view show when you were in the UK. That was crazy because about halfway through, I was like, "Oh my god, the sun's going to be coming up for him in like an hour." Like it clicked in how stark the time change is, but. We got some love from Taylor Cannon saying, hello, Kate and SP3. Hope you are both having a good day. Always enjoy watching you guys together on post shows. I love streaming with SP3. It's easy. It's fun. We have a great time, even when the shows are not necessarily the best. But I am having a great day because I found out my sister's dog does not have cancer after we thought she did. So great news coming in there. I got a new TV yesterday. I'm having a good little week. I'll tell you. How's your day, SP3? Let's talk.
My day was it was pleasant. It was pleasant. I worked this morning. I did AE Ramble with Jimmy Macaram, who did not like Dynamite as much as I did, but we weren't too far off. But
yeah, I thought it was a refreshing episode yesterday.
We did agree on the stuff that is not working, which is we've put it down to just Jeff Jarrett and the Death Riders. That's not.
I was almost unanimously. I would say everybody is kind of. Though I will say this, I talked with Alex Pulowski yesterday. I was on the Dynamite post show because Sean was getting ready for Vegas. But I was talking with Alex, and we got that like hint of Adam Page and MJF intertwining. He was like, it would be very cool if we got this angle where Adam Page, and I think this could be where it's going, accidentally retires Christopher Daniels, and MJF intentionally retires Jeff Jarrett and Adam Page feels guilt and MJF does not. And that's the beginning of like a Hangman redemption arc. I was like, that would be awesome all day for that.
That's great because everything is interwoven because Page feuded with Jeff Jarrett. And he was about to do what MJF could possibly do if it wasn't for Switchblade and the rest of the Bang Bang gang. He would have done that at Grand Slam. But I would love that. I think that we did see the start of Hangman turning babyface. That was one of my favorite parts. But the show peaked with Harley Cameron. I was almost in tears. I love.
Oh my god, she's so brilliant.
Oh my god,
man.
This is amazing.
This is the best
segment Mercedes been in since her debut.
Mercedes with the gnar too killed me. Because she has such a cadence to how she talks because she's the CEO. I was in stitches. But let's dig into this episode of ROH. We'll kick around some more AEW as it weaves in. It tends to do that sometimes. But this does kick off with something I thought we'd be getting a little bit more of this episode, which was a promo from Mark Briscoe congratulating ROH on 100 episodes. I thought we might get a few more of those, but I mean, like we get one from Jericho later and I'm like, well, you're the champ. So, but they have so many ROH alum and legends on their own roster that it feels like an easy get. But also last week, they thought it was episode 100 for half the episode. So I don't think they're really like keeping too much track. Also,
we got three. We got three on the show. At least
we did. Oh yeah, we did get 3, didn't we? Actually,
yeah.
My bad. I left one out. We got the most important one. Is the one that I left out, but we'll talk about that in a minute. This was a nice way to open it, though. It kind of set the tone for everything, and I thought that was nice. Mark Briscoe. I mean, you do the best impression of him. I don't even know why I'm still talking. Like.
He's like, I'm just here to say happy birthday to Ring of Honor for the 100th episode of Ring of Honor TV show on Honor Club. I was there on the first episode and I was facing Slim J and I beat him. I beat him for my kids. You know, I got a bunch of kids. I got as many kids as I got gray hair. I got a lot of salt. Got a lot of salt in my beard. And that's what we do.
You are simply
them boys.
You're like a couple missing teeth away from just really embodying the whole spirit of Mark Briscoe. But I do like that we had like a guy who was there on day one, and we're going to talk about. We do get Athena's or later in this episode where she just cuts a promo celebrating the 100th episode and says that she's going to be back soon, which is good. So I like that we have the most successful champ who's a current champion and really carrying the show, as well as like a day one guy. That felt like a nice balance to have. Jericho congratulating on 100 episodes in the reboot is just like, I will never, despite him being a 2-time champion, I feel no attachment between Chris Jericho and ROH. Like I just don't. Mostly because this is the most we've had our champion on the show, honestly, for like, at least he's doing the work to put in vignettes. But like, I just don't, of all the people on the AEW roster, there's got to be at least 20 that I equate with this brand more before him, despite the fact that he's a 2-time champion. So that was the only thing with that. But I was happy that the most successful champion in the history of the promotion, Athena, was featured in the light that she should be. So good stuff there.
The only person missing, I would have liked bearded Eddie Kingston to send us a video from his couch.
That would have been excellent.
That would have been great. I understand not Claudio. Claudio would be the other person, but I understand not Claudio based on what's his storyline in AEW.
Sure, I would have thought Joe. That was my big one, was like Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that's also true.
Samoa Joe. So, but we do get to also see later in this episode Adam Cole, which is another person that feels like of a specific ROH period. So they did a decent enough job with that. But thank you for tuning in. About 2,300 of you tuned in across platforms right now. Please do leave a thumbs up. We are getting into this episode. So much on the TNA side to talk about with Joel and Cresta as well when they come on here. They've got Fraxiom defending their NXT title against the Rascalz, which I can't imagine is going to be anything other than brilliant. And also, it sounds like it's Josh Alexander's last appearance. So they have a ton to discuss along with this deepening relationship with WWE. But let's dig into this. Let's talk about our ROH World TV Championship match. Komander beating QT Marshall with the Cielito Lindo press. That's the best you're gonna get from me.
Salinto Lindo or something like that.
I am as white as they get, so I'm sorry. I always feel so bad for Luis, our moderator. He speaks Spanish so beautifully, and
he must be so disappointed.
He's got me being like Los Garzas on Friday nights. Like, I feel so bad for him, but Lee Johnson comes out after on the ramp, and he calls his TV title shot. I think he might be the only guy in the men's singles division. I really do. And I think he's half of a tag team. So I don't really know. He's challenged for both titles before. It seems like they don't build anybody else up. I'm excited for the actual match between Komander and him. Like, I'm excited to see what the mix of styles looks like, because I think Komander works really well with someone like Lee. So I'm excited to see how that goes, but thought we were on this Lee J kind of trajectory a little bit. So not sure if that'll come into play in all of this, but we will see. But a fun match. That was a good way to start the show.
It really feels like when plans change in AEW, it trickles down to us in ROH, because this feels like a change in plans, even if it's just a 1 week thing of Lee versus Komander, which we're getting next week, which it was nice to have some kind of relatively big matches announced a week in advance. But I believe that's a proving ground. So it might be we're actually developed some type of feud between the two men. But this does feel like a change of plans, because EJ and Duca and Lee Johnson, they just did their heel turn at Final Battle. And they did the follow-up with Serpentico at Hammerstein Ballroom. Gates of Agony, kind of like, it was like a double turn where they turned babyface, and they've not really been on Ring of Honor TV since then. Now they're on AEW TV. They were on ROH TV tonight. So they're going to be on Collision on Saturday. But that felt even their appearance tonight didn't feel like it was a continuation of what happened at Final Battle. It felt like it was setting up what's happening on Saturday more than it was doing anything involving ROH TV. So a lot of this is weird, but Komander and QT Marshall, I thought they had a fun little matchup. QT is just a great base for a guy like Komander, and then QT just throwing around Komander and showing off a little bit of his offense was always fun. I like the finish, getting Alex Alparjantes involved, even though I was rooting for QT to punch him, because I was like, why are you even here? Wait, what are you doing? But I like the finish with the two destroyers into the Celento Lindo press.
Nailed it. That sounds great to me. How you said it, I'll take it. But I agree with you. This was a fun, first of all, QT is in excellent shape. He has been working on his conditioning for sure. He looks great, but he is excellent at basing for guys like Komander, because he knows, I think he's really good at making them look great while still making himself look really good. And I feel like people that have to base for luchadors, sometimes that's where they struggle, is they can do one or the other. So I was surprised this wasn't the main event, because it was a title match, but I do understand it based on kind of where we're going with that, I think. But we will get there. Guys, keep those super chats coming. Leave a thumbs up as we continue down the road here. Let's actually talk about this Katsuyori Shibata versus Shane Taylor matchup. Trish Adora, Sean Dean, Carly Bravo, and Lee Moriarty are there. Shibata wins with the penalty kick, but STP after the match attacking Shibata, and Taylor hitting that knee strike. Oh boy. And Garcia and the Undisputed Kingdom come out, which, to your point, is setting up something for Saturday that was already announced. So at least they reversed engineered properly. It just doesn't feel like they're following through with what they engineered to. But after the interference, Don Callis and your international champion Konosuke Takeshita call out Shibata for AEW Collision Homecoming. And that's how we close the show. Don't want to see Shane Taylor Promotions taking losses. I just don't. You cannot. It's giving TMDK. It's giving a group that Kate is so excited about that they're like, you know what, though? We just have to make the booking not make sense with what they're saying at all. I get this, but at the same time, I'm like, when you present somebody as a unit, or you have the opportunity to present someone as a unit, and you don't follow through with it, with Shane Taylor leading the way, especially, I get very frustrated by that, because all you have to do is give them some wins. One of them already has gold. You could very easily make an infantry pit stop to get a tag title, and Shane Taylor just being the king of it all. Easy peasy. I don't know if he he's called for title shots multiple times and not gotten them, so I don't know what the deal is. I'm sure before he enters the title picture, they're probably going to make sure he's going to win. I think you have to at this point with that, but all you have to do is give them some W's, man. Like, we saw them win last week, we saw Trish Adora win last week, and that was great. But I mean, losing to Shibata with the penalty kick when you're Shane Taylor feels not great. No shade at Shibata, but he's up there in age, and you have the chance to do something really special with this supergroup. Do something special with this supergroup.
You see, like, before we started this this podcast, Kate, I was like, I don't know how I feel about tonight's episode. And as you were going through everything and talking about the main event, and then the cliffhanger ending, which I did like it after I watched it. But I think that was why I had the feeling of, like, the last half hour before we did this show. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that episode. You know why? That was Rampage. That wasn't Ring of Honor. It hit me where you was talking. I was like, they were just setting up Collision. That's all they were doing on this show. This show was not Ring of Honor. This show was just like, they had the one thing Rampage would usually follow up from the previous Rampage, like ergo a Leo Rush versus Komander that they did a couple of months ago, where they only did a couple of matches on Rampage. That was QT Marshall versus Komander, and then everything else pretty much on this show was basically facilitating probably people that are gonna be doing jobs on Collision. Taya Valkyrie. Katsuyori Shibata against Takeshita, Gates of Agony against the Hounds of Hell. Like, yo, like, look at this show as we go through the show and just pinpoint, and then remember this episode when we watch the next couple of collisions. And I guarantee you, the people that won on this episode are probably losing on a future episode of Collision.
They only lose on Collision. They're like Collision enhancement talent, and it breaks my heart when that's the case. It's awesome they get TV reps. Like, I love that for them. But it also creates this split universe. This is something NXT has really cleaned up, actually, is like they had the same thing where everybody had split personalities. You were heel on one show, you were face on the other, you were winning on one show, you're losing on the other. And not quality losses either, right? We're not talking quality losses. So I am trying to be aware of the fact that, like, they probably were short-staffed on some talent. It certainly felt like yesterday maybe the hair and makeup person didn't make it in based on Wheeler Yuta's
man, Wheeler Yuta.
Sheepdog Wheeler.
Bargain for ya. But yeah, the main event itself with Shane Taylor and Shibata, I thought was a hard-hitting, solid matchup. I like the post-match as far as, like, this being a 100 show. You got the former Pure champion, yes, Daniel Garcia coming out. You got Undisputed Kingdom with all them being former ROH world champions. Adam Cole, he won the TV title. I know Roddy's won all the titles in Ring of Honor. Kyle O'Reilly, he's been tag team champion in the past. So it was nice to see those guys. But I watched that segment and I was just like, yeah, this would have been great if last week was the 100 episode and this was last week, because then that plays in nicely to what we saw on Collision last week, which was Undisputed Kingdom beating Shane Taylor Promotions. Then we could just neatly have this being a bad week for Shane Taylor Promotions, not back-to-back weeks of them having bad weeks.
Exactly. And, like, losing to main roster talent that is, like, still in their prime kind of feels a little bit different than randomly Shibata on ROH. But match was good. They just got to stop. It's a pattern of booking too. It's like Shane Taylor looking really cool, seeming really cool, and then what? You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I don't know what they're. I feel like we just saw the future of the show for a little bit. At least until whatever they are doing with the TV deal is. I think it's going to serve as like part Rampage.
I don't want to review Rampage SP3. I really don't. I really don't.
I hate to be the one to be like, I feel like that's my job in like wrestling media.
Is to hurt my feelings?
No, I'm the one that says the uncomfortable stuff that we all notice, but no one's saying. That's my job.
Well, I didn't notice that, and now I do, and now I don't like you very much, but we'll move on. Made nervous saying, as the SGS meat commander, I have no love for birds, so it's wing night at the meat castle. Now let's crank. How was ROH tonight? Also, thank you, Netflix. Yeah, we thank you, Netflix, for our dear concept of streaming and for taking a risk on WWE. For if you had not, certainly nobody else would be broadcasting wrestling in any way, shape, or form. So thank you, Netflix. ROH tonight there was like pageantry around an average episode. I'll put it that way. Like, it was really fun to see Cole and Danny Garcia come out and things like that. It was cool to see Deonna Purrazzo on this brand again, but like, it didn't feel like necessarily a ton advanced in ROH world. So there you go. Yeah. But we kick off the show with Leila Grey beating Marty Bell with the Dragon Sleeper. She's going to get a title shot against Red Velvet for her one victory of the year, which, all right. I'm wondering what's going on because we had something with Layla Hirsch set up and they don't seem to be looping back around to that. This also, I'm not kidding when I tell you there was like a lot of travel issues over the course of this sprint of taping. So they might just be setting, like they might be doing Lee Johnson versus Komander because they were setting up a TV match and that person couldn't make it that day and whatever. So I don't know what's affected by what. I like Leila Grey. I am impressed by her tenacity that she's like going to the New Japan dojo this early in her career and stuff. And this is what the TV title should be for. It should be helping that lower and mid card come alive with more frequent defenses on a workhorse title, in my opinion. And I also just want to see some very competitive matches for Red Velvet at some point in the more near future. But this is fine, like on a TV, not building to a pay-per-view yet. So why not? Let's give Leila Grey a shot. I would just like wins to lead into that instead of win to lead into that, but it's early in the year. You only had so many weeks of television. It's only January 23rd, so who am I to say? But she has a lot of upside. She really shines on screen, so if her wrestling can keep growing, I think she's going to be a really great asset to AEW. Any love for this promo and the matchup we're getting?
I'm fine with the promo. I do agree you do need more than one win to get a title shot, Leila Grey. But I did not like this match. The match was not good. There was a lot of, they just weren't on the same page. And I like Leila Grey, and I've seen the improvement in her, and I like Marty Bell, and I've seen the improvement in her over time. But they just didn't seem like they were on the same page here. I'm willing to see what Leila Grey can do against Red Velvet and how Red Velvet handles that type of opportunity, because it feels like she's kind of gonna have to lead that matchup for them. So I think that's going to be a good test for Red Velvet there. So I'm looking forward to it.
I agree with you with the match itself. It did feel like they were just like a step off or not speaking the same language in there. Yeah. I'm a big Marty Bell fan. I love the Hex. I wish that there was a tag division between brands here for the women, because there's so many great women not being used. Deonna Purrazzo, that it was just one of those things. I couldn't even really quite like pick up what was wrong, but it just felt like one of those chemistry things where it was just like just not clicking, just not super clicking in on things. But it is what it is. They'll move on and have great matches down the line. It's fine. So not the best, not the worst, but This gets Leila Grey to a title match. So we'll see how that goes. But let's move on to what should we talk about next? Looking at this episode, I was like, for episode 100. Let's talk about this next. Jack Jameson is backstage with Griff Garrison, Cole Carter, and Preston Vance, where he wants a faction called the Fraternity, mostly because these guys are so swollen, not necessarily on the side of wearing shirts all the time. I'll put it. They are not. If I looked like that, I'd be running around in sports bra everywhere. So God bless them. If I had abs and arms like that, if people were like, "Do you have a license for those, ma'am?" I would be like doing the same thing. But Garrison, Carter, and Vance kind of look at each other and are like, "Well, no, but we'll think about it," kind of thing.
It's like, we should beat him up. No, we should listen to what he offers and then beat him up if we don't like it. Yeah, that's pretty good. This was like, I was like, these guys share a brain. I'm pretty sure they shared a brain, and that gave them the ability to speak. They each passed it around. It was like a baton, like when you're in camp and you need the stick to talk. That was their brain that they were passing around as they came to that coherent thought of listening to Jack Jameson before they turned him down.
I was just like, are the Iron Savages a part of this? It was very... They talked for a while, considering how much they didn't say. Like, this was a pretty long promo, considering it was basically like...
Wasn't a lot.
Hey, we're all bros. We should start a faction called the Fraternity. Was basically what it was. So I don't know. I don't know about this. It feels like toxic masculinity personified. That's how it feels.
I'll give you the translation of what they were trying to say. I'm a dude. He's a dude, she's a dude, and we're all dudes. Hey, I'm a dude. She's a dude. He's a dude, because we're all dudes. Hey.
Nailed it. I will leave the window open for them to win me over. I do think the three guys that were standing there need something. Need a mouthpiece, need a common thread, need something, because they're all kind of just floating around. And... none of them have ever felt particularly super comfortable mic-wise. So if Jack Jameson's the answer, that's cool. Is he not with Iron Savages anymore?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Is the Iron Savages done? Because it feels like this is like the slow breakdown of Iron Savages, because we had all three Iron Savages, then we had Jess Boulder for a couple of weeks, and then he had that weird 8-man tag where he was with two other tag teams. And now we got just Jack Jameson trying to recruit other people. So is Boulder and Bronson not here anymore? Are they moving on their own? Are they just going to be the Iron Savages? Is Jack Jameson managing the Iron Savages and the Fraternity? What is going on? I just need answers. And where's Stokely Hathaway? That has nothing to do with what I just said. But I want to know where's Stokely Hathaway.
I wonder if they turn on Jack Jameson and the Iron Savages come to his defense, but then they're like, "Oh, why would you betray us?" kind of thing. As far as Stokely, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think
Stokely should return and recruit Private Party, because he was right all along.
Oh, okay.
They needed him.
Not mad about that. I could see some really fun promo work between him and MVP too. Going at it, that could get really fun, because they both are very good at walking the line between being, you can take them seriously, but you can still laugh along with them. They're both very good at that. So that could be very fun. Well, we had a Lord Crew chant. How about that shit on television here? The Beast Mortos picking up the win against Lord Crew with the Destination Hellhole, one of the coolest names for something in the whole wide world. Not a lot to say here. It was fun hearing a Lord Crew chant, though. That was fun. And Beast Mortos he's such a special avenue that's all his own. And I feel like with Penta departing for WWE, having someone like him around is good, because I feel like not that he fills the same holes that Penta left, but like he's a luchador that can base well for other people, but also holds his own as a singles. Like I think that's really, really good. Like you want diversity within your lucha roster, and I think Beast Mortos offers something that is like so special in his own in their current landscape. So I really, really like that. And also,
Rawr. Attorney at Rawr. Yes, Frank Mortos, attorney at Rawr. I am always happy to see him on my television. We need more of him. If we're not going to see him on AEW TV, he better sure be on ROH TV. So I was happy to see him here. Happy to see Lord Crew get the opportunity here. Him and his significant other on this episode here. So
That's
that
right.
was a lot of fun to see. So love them getting the opportunity, and it was a pretty decent affair here, and Beast Mortos picking up the win. But this feels like once again, this was another matchup that just made me feel like, am I watching Ring of Honor or am I watching Rampage? Is Beast Mortos about to job on Collision to a star? Because that's usually how this goes, how the equation goes.
Is this Ramp of Honor?
Ramp of Honor. There we go. Rampage of Honor.
I'm so mad at you for pointing that out because it's accurate. Breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. Well,
I mean, look at the bright side. This is an improvement on Dark. We were ROH Dark for a long time. So I mean, we're evolving.
We're moving up to the main roster anytime now to the proper shows, but let's keep moving along here. Guys, please leave a thumbs up. Almost 4,000 of you tuned in now, so thank you so much for the support. Reminder to subscribe to Fightful Select if you're not subscribed as well. I told you about some scoop skis at the beginning of this show. Sean had that Christopher Daniels scoop as well, that it was his retirement match. But there's plenty of other value behind the paywall as well. That Ask SRS channel is something I always talk about because I think it's pretty cool that if you ask Sean a question, he'll get you the answer. You can just kind of have like Sean on demand, which is pretty neat. So the Ask SRS channel in the Discord and his backstage Q&A show is something that I think is an underrated and very valuable thing, but plenty of fun to be had behind the paywall.
Question for you.
Sure.
Who's your Mount Rushmore Christopher Daniels opponents?
Oh, God. That's a really good question.
I have 3 on the Mount Rushmore. It could technically be 4, but I feel like the third option needs to share a head. It would be Styles,
sure,
Joe, the Young Bucks.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I feel like you're right. I feel like the Young Bucks are it's the Mount Rushmore of acts that he's faced.
Yeah.
Who would the 4th be? Those were the exact 3 that I was like, immediately came to mind.
You think of Daniel's career, those are the 3 opponents that you would think of
jump to, kind of immediately. Yeah. I'm trying to think because I was not the biggest TNA watcher too.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think of like his TNA run. The most I remember is just him and Styles. Him and Styles a
lot, and it was great.
It was they always went back to it. Like I even like the stuff that I was like, okay, think of an opponent outside of Styles, and I thought of LAX, and I was like, that's him and AJ Styles versus LAX.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's so funny. Danielson's probably the number 4, right?
I would say a good shout that I just thought of, America's Most Wanted, Triple X and America's Most Wanted.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll take it.
Daniels is a good shout. I just don't think they had one of those like iconic Ring of Honor matches.
Rivalries.
Yeah, proper rivalries. Their most known, their most like notable matchup in Ring of Honor is the first ever main event, and that's
right.
What it was, a triple threat 4-way. So it's like it doesn't like make that as memorable as it should be. Yeah.
It's also just an easy cop out to say Danielson. If he is probably on every Mount Rushmore for people's opponents, but America's Most Wanted, Greg Carter saying the same thing. That's a good question. I like that question. Yeah, that's funny. I of course immediately went to the same ones that you did. But we've been talking about the Vendetta quite a bit tonight. Let's talk about Taya Valkyrie, who has Deonna Purrazzo out there, defeating Miss Lady Frost with the Shania Payne. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Nice to see Lady Frost in action. Taya's great. I like what? And I cannot stress this enough. The fuck are we doing with this? We don't have a sponsor tonight. I'm not in the monetization window. I don't use that word often, but I'm cashing in my big fudge F word on this one because we had weeks of vignettes with no matches with these two. We had Deonna losing in her hometown to Anna Jay. We had Deonna losing again. I think she picked up one win. I can't even remember who it was against, but she had lost to Toni Storm. This is such a cool act. Such a cool act. And they're doing nothing with it. With Deonna, why is there a single company that can just, I guess TNA did, but there's just a ceiling on what TNA can realistically do a little bit. Like, how do you not look at this woman and be like, she's a star, one of the best in-ring performers that a man or a woman that we have, and not use her to her fullest potential? I don't get it. I don't get it. She's so damn good. She's like in my top 5 women in the company, probably. And that includes a pretty damn good list of women's wrestlers in this company. I don't get it. So I was like excited to see them because I love them, but I am so frustrated by the lack of screen time for them on the main roster. I find it ridiculous and quite frankly, kind of insulting. Like there is no reason you roll out 6 weeks of vignettes for someone for an act and then you don't do anything with them. I don't get it. I don't understand it. The chat agrees. Give me Mercedes versus Deonna. Deonna rules. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but they should both be wrestling way more because Taya's great too. She has like this. She does a really good job at complimenting Deonna without feeling like she's less than equal to her, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like she's number 2 in the act, but she has a really good way of like seeing where Deonna's going and working right with her on where she's at, like in promos and stuff. I really like her a lot. So I was excited for this match. It was great. It was nice to see Lady Frost. I'm a big Lady Frost fan, but it just made me so frustrated because it blows my mind that you had Mercedes and Deonna come in a couple months apart, and Deonna is fantastic in the ring and feels like such an afterthought in this division. Very frustrating for me. But this match was good.
I like just was like clapping in my head at what you were saying because I just thought about it. I was like, the vendetta in a nutshell. Like if any of like named female stars in pro wrestling become a free agent and they're thinking about signing with Tony Khan, just look at the vendetta. That literally they are like the prototypical arc of a Tony Khan name value like signing that isn't like a main event star, but is someone that earned their name outside of AEW, that comes in that you think can fit a role or can be a champion in AEW. And what do? Taya Valkyrie comes in 2023. They give her a bunch of wins to set her up to face Jade Cargill. She loses to Jade Cargill at Double or Nothing. She's never used properly ever again. Deonna Purrazzo comes in at the start of 2024, gets a series of wins, puts on a very good rivalry with Timeless Toni Storm ahead of Revolution, loses to her in Revolution. At least they gave her a follow-up feud with Thunder Rosa after
which was
also great. And then after that, they have not used her properly since then. And like, trust me, I'm just giving you them as the example. It can get worse. Give you exhibit B, Camille. So like, I'm not even going to go into that one. This is getting ridiculous at this point. Tony Khan's not going to be able to sign, and he named female talent because of how he has treated and booked these women. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this point. Like, if you're not going to use them on AEW television, then Deonna Purrazzo should be a challenger for Athena on ROH TV. But you should be using them on AEW television because it's a strong act. You got Taya Valkyrie, who was the longest reigning TNA Knockouts World Champion of all time. Deonna Purrazzo, a 3-time TNA Knockouts World Champion. Doesn't make any sense.
Like one of the most dominant women's champions in the modern era. Like truly, Deonna Purrazzo, like built from the ground up with a bunch of hard work and dedication. And it's so weird because they didn't even get it a chance to get going. Like they did a bunch of vignettes and then did nothing. How do you do that many weeks of vignettes to do nothing? It makes no sense. And SP3, like we talked about the dangers of what would happen to the women's division with Rampage. I was yesterday on the post show. I was like, they knew Samoa Joe and Nick Wayne wasn't going to happen. What did they fill that time with? Certainly not another women's match. Couldn't have had Marina Shafir squash someone. Of course not. Like it's so frustrating because what you get is this very loaded top of the division and no room for everyone else. There's like Willow and Chris and Mercedes in your world title picture. Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart did a good job adjacent, but like, man, it feels like you can't get out of the loops on your title pick. Like there's nobody, you can't build up anybody else for contenders. That's why Mariah May's reign has suffered so much, was they weren't building other people to face her. Nobody else was getting wins on television because they don't put any other damn women on television. It's like, oh, Anna Jay had a win last week. Throw her in with Mariah May. That's the extent of how you're booking the women's division. You cannot build up adequate contenders. That's why with Mercedes Moné, the match with Chris Statlander, especially the second one, if you told me that's your favorite AEW women's match of all time, I would not argue with you. But you know why it happened? Because they felt like doing another match. It was because there were no other contenders being built up there. It's so frustrating and solvable. It is so fucking embarrassing in 2025 to get on podcast after podcast, week after week, and talk about that we can't even get to one damn women's match an hour. It is so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Especially with the women's roster that they have. Like just naming the women that you did have that they only are the only women that they really use, which is Mercedes, Mariah, Tony, Willow, Chris. Basically, anyone who was in that Casino Gauntlet 2 weeks ago, that's the women that they use in the company. They don't use anyone else outside of that. Those are really the women that they use right now. They don't. And you could get 2 matches on an episode of Dynamite with just those women alone, and with the women that they also have probably jobbing to those women. You could get two women's matches out of that. They just choose not to. It's
Queen Aminata. They don't know what they're doing with Queen Aminata. They don't know what show she's on. Like the most up next ready-made star. They don't know what to do with. She's not in a storyline right now. One of the most universally agreed, like that woman has everything. Do something with her. She just has matches sometimes. It's ridiculous.
They have arguably the best women's wrestler currently paid by Tony Khan on the 3rd promotion in front of 10,000 people on Honor Club. So I've literally been doing this AEW Dynamite review with Jimmy Baccaram for, I believe, going on 4 years now. And since like 2021, even when AEW was on top, he told me that Tony Khan was not a good booker. And I didn't believe him. I was like, no, it's good. It's good. We're good now. And then in 2022, I was like, I'm starting to see some stuff. Then 2023, I was like, you make some good points. 2024, last year, I was just like, you know what? He's not. now 2025, I'm just like, I'm numb to it at this point. I'm just like, this is not going to change. It doesn't matter how much I talk about it, how much any of us talk about it. It's not going to change.
It's frustrating because there were some parts of 2024 that were so good, but it bottomed out so hard. And it's so disconnected because the good stuff is the best stuff and the bad stuff is unspeakable bad. Like it is so bad.
I've never seen anything like it. Like it's like people don't understand. People talk about like WCW, and a lot of people that talk about WCW did not live through WCW. But like this is like watching an AEW Dynamite episode, like watching Dynamite last night, and you get Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega teaming up like they're Batman versus Superman, and they just realize that their mother's names are Martha, and they team up together and fly off of large stuff onto the Don Callis family. It feels like they're the 2 biggest stars in the promotion. That feels like WCW in 1997. Then you got freaking 56-year-old Jeff Jarrett walking out here, and it feels like WCW in 1999, 2000. Like, it's just like, whoa, the tonal shift. Like the first 30 minutes of Dynamite, I was riding high. I was like, Hurt Syndicate come out. We hurt people. We hurt people. I'm like having a good time. And then Jeff Jarrett came out. I was like, oh, man. All right. Swerve's back. Swerve's out. Ricochet's out. Oh, we back. Yeah, we back. We having fun. Oh, Death Riders.
It feels like 8 different people are running the show. That's how it feels to me. Of like, some of them are great at their job and some of them are really bad. But I don't know, man. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. And with the women's division too, I kind of understood it a little more in the beginning because they didn't have the depth they do. Now it's like unspeakably,
there's no reason,
like ridiculous. Especially, is Penelope Ford healthy?
She was on. She was being used. They had a whole month where she was being used, and then ever since the end of last year, they haven't been using her.
It's very weird that she had like this big comeback. I feel like she would be such a perfect fit for the Vendetta. Like she would slide into that so well, but they would have to use the Vendetta for that to happen.
They would have to use the Vendetta. I mean, I got asked, I think Rick Ucchino was writing something for Sports Illustrated, and he asked me, did they ever follow up on the Penelope Ford and Harley Cameron thing? And I was like, you know what? It's the first time I thought about that.
Yeah. No, they didn't. The answer was no, they did not.
One or two shows, and then they do that all the time. It's like, why should I get invested in stuff? Why should I get invested in the Vendetta and the vignettes if this is how they're going to be used? Why should I be invested and talk about, oh, what a great moment Private Party winning the tag team titles was, if that's what their title reign was going to be? Like, this just happens way too much in AEW.
It's weird because yesterday I felt like was a really productive episode and they pivoted in some spots that they crucially needed to. And I thought that was really good. But it also just feels like, I said this to Alex Pulowski a while ago, like watching that show sometimes it's like, okay, we have this story. We could go either in A, this direction, B, that direction, C, chocolate, or D, that direction. And they choose chocolate. Like they choose something that makes absolutely no sense at all. And it's maddening because it feels like the answers are right there. The Moxley stuff is like, man, when they started this, I was so excited for it. And they were talking about like stomping out the egos of young guys. And I'm like, 3 weeks of kidnapping the Express is what you're doing with these guys. Like they look like the Sticky Bandits from Home Alone. They do not look like killers. I'm not intimidated by them. They look goofy. I'm over it. But let's get back to this episode of ROH.
It is insane though that the Blackpool Combat Club was really cool.
The coolest.
They were really coolest. Cool. No, they're the Death Riders. They're not.
When they were like the Death Riders that were driving through the desert and this stuff all started.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was cool.
Now. Okay.
That was cool. And they just completely
lost its way so hard.
Have lost the plot. They need to and this is the thing. And you understand, I'll make a baseball analogy because I know you're a baseball fan. But you got this guy coming up. You got somebody facing the Yankees, and they have a great fastball, but they know Carlo's gonna hit that out the park. So they switch it up and they do the curveball and they get out Carlo. But then Judge comes up, and they know that their curveball he's gonna hit that out the park. But they still throw the curveball because it worked over there. They're still gonna go throw the curveball, and Judge he knocks it out the park. You're telling me you can pivot on Carlo, but you can't pivot on Judge? You're telling me you can pivot on MJF and Double J after that awful segment last week, but you can't pivot on the Death Riders after 3 months of it not working?
I mean,
that's insane. That's insane. I'm sorry. Like that has bothered me for 24 hours now. Like,
it's bad and it's repetitive, so it's the worst of both worlds. You know what I mean? Like it's yesterday I was like, Adam Cole's gonna lose, and then one guy is gonna come down to even the numbers game, and they're not gonna be able to. And that like it's bad, and I know what's going to happen, so it's even worse. I'm always rooting for Jay White because I think he's great. I've never rooted for somebody harder than I'm going to be rooting for that guy at Grand Slam. Like I
He's the only one that looked good out of that final segment, because even though he got beat up in the
Yes.
end, he was the only one that came out and tried to help. And he only the numbers only got to him because they low blowed him. So I was like, at the end of that, I was like, yeah, the only one who looked good in this was White. Copeland looks like an idiot who stayed for the Death Riders to come out and jump him.
He is a part of a trio of two guys who like were nowhere to be found or whatever because they were backstage all beat up. Like, you cannot be surprised that these guys are going to attack you backstage anymore. You cannot be surprised that they're going to ambush you. You cannot be surprised by this. It drives me crazy.
If they're going to attack if the Death Riders are going to attack them, Tony Khan, you should probably show the Rock and Roll Express backstage to establish that, because like I know so many people that messaged me like, who was that the Death Riders attacked? Because they did not know. Well, I know they said it's the Rock and Roll, but like you need to establish that.
They said that they were at an autograph signing earlier in the day or something, I think.
But it's so passing. And if you're like me, you don't listen to the commentary.
Well,
commentary is not good. If it's not Nigel or Ian on there, it's not really good.
Now that Taz is back, I listen a little bit more, but it's also like, why are they doubling down on beating up Express? Like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense, but...
You guys just did this.
Well, and like, why are you... They don't work here, man. Like, they're 1 million years old and they don't work here. Like, they didn't take up screen time for you to be mad about. Like, it's bananas. It's bananas. But let's work through the rest of this episode of ROH. We do have our throwback match, which was an international challenge in 2006. Very fun to see a young Shingo Takagi, Blood Generation, out there versus Daniels and Seidel, which was nice. We saw this duo get called back a lot to at the beginning of ROH when they were building out that brilliant program that they never paid off with Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. and those TV titles. But nice to see a little nod to CD here, and fun to see a young CD and a young Shingo, honestly. It was very, very fun. Any thoughts on this? Were you there for this?
I was not there for this. This was back when I was just getting the DVDs and everything. But this is
how it feels.
This is where my fandom of Shingo Takagi started. Like, when he comes to like New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2018, this is my knowledge of Shingo Takagi, because I wasn't really an active Dragon Gate watcher, but I was an active Ring of Honor watcher, and he was one of the bigger stars from Dragon Gate that were a part of Ring of Honor in 2006, 2007, 2008. So I love this throwback, and it was a great match. It still lived up. My friend was over here, and he was like, "Man, the crowd is going crazy." I was like, "They don't make crowds like this anymore." Like, none of these independent shows, people can tell me, "Oh, independent wrestling is hot again," but I don't know if it'll ever be as hot or sound like it did for this.
No, I think GCW about this time last year was pretty close. Like, that felt like the lightning in a bottle feeling. But there's something really special and loud about this period of ROH because it was so accidental. Like, it wasn't supposed to work this well, I don't think, but very, very fun to see them in their younger days. Very cool. But I regret to inform you I'm over the Outrunners. I just kind of am. It's probably because they're not working on anything consistently. Like, they're such great characters, and when they're not in a story, they're just kind of two throwback guys that do a lot of power slams. So, like, they need to be in something that is extremely story driven, I think, for it to work. And then they shine because it's what they're best at. But they defeat John Cruz and Rosario Grillo with the total recall on Cruz. There was also no real reason this match was happening, so that doesn't help. But it did happen, so we're here to talk about it. I just feel like with the Outrunners, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. So deal with it, all of you. I feel like when you have an act like the Outrunners, and I feel like people naturally compare them to MXM because there is a common thread of being extreme silly gooses. And that's fair. But MXM has work rate stuff that allows them the versatility to adapt to their opponents. So when you have like a one-off, they can still tell you a pretty good story, and it goes above the double entendres. There's in-ring storytelling that happens with their relationship that makes those matches feel fresh and different and new. With the Outrunners, when you get a one-off, it just kind of feels like, oh, they're doing their thing that they always do. And I don't feel like they can adjust as easily because the thing that they do is that they're trapped 2 decades ago at a different time period. So it feels like they wrestle to the style of the character. But for me, that gets boring because that was a very boring style of wrestling, in my opinion. So I like them when they are in something, but stuff like this, I was like kind of tuned out, honestly. I was like, oh, there they go. They're doing the thing that they do.
And it wasn't a very well wrestled matchup. So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from as far as this goes. I can understand where you're coming from as far as general. The Outrunners are not going to be for everyone. Honestly, what the Outrunners are is what basically the heels of WWE call Jey Uso. They're a mascot. They're a company mascot. They're the company mascot for AEW right now. I guess that's the role that they have put them in, since it doesn't seem like they're going to be in any tag team title mix of any kind anytime soon. So, yeah, they're just a company mascot. They work their character. They work their gimmick. They do the 80s moves, the power slam, the punches, the you son of a bit, and all that good stuff. So that's what they are. They are what they are. And if you like work rate and all that stuff, that's not what they're going to offer.
I like them in specific situations. This was not one of them. And to your point, I don't think it was like the best match either. So that doesn't help. But guys, we're coming down the home stretch. The TNA show was a banger. They're going to be talking about it after this. We do have one more match to talk about. So get in your super chats and your humper chats if there's anything else that you want to throw on here. I also just want to say thank you to everybody that supported the Fightful Awards. I was promoting it heavily at y'all's faces for a very, very long time. And it was a really special night that a lot of people put a lot of hard work into. It's always so cool that talent take the time to give us acceptance speeches. I think Harley Cameron stole the show this year alongside maybe Drew McIntyre's as well. RJ's is always a cut up, but those are really special nights. And it's something that I know Sean takes a lot of pride in how those awards look, and we invest a lot in it. So when you guys invest in us, it really does mean a lot. So Matthew Hooks is in the chat right now. He sponsors us on Tuesday nights too. It's a really nice thing because we just kind of pause and appreciate wrestlers and wrestling. And it's not like, can you believe that this happened at this place and booking here and whatever. It's just appreciating great wrestling and great wrestlers. So thank you to everybody that supported that. This is the most I've been involved in it. And it means a lot, especially when creators are the ones that sponsor us, because people that are creators or small businesses themselves or whatever bothering to spend their money on us definitely means a lot. But thank you for that. Leave a thumbs up on this video. We're wrapping up here with the Gates of Agony defeating Teriyaki and Joey Lucas with that spine buster on Lucas. These two guys are great, and they feel like they're in a holding pattern. Felt like they were going for a title shot because they were referencing how they were undefeated for so long. I understand why the 6-man titles aren't around. I don't like it, but I get it because one of the Von Erichs is injured. There's no excuse for the tag titles not to be around. Done. Sammy Guevara is available. Dustin Rhodes is available. They're not really doing a ton on AEW. The tag division has more going on than the men's singles division. Like, what are we doing? There's only tag teams around. There's tag teams and Lee Johnson. That's it. That's the extent. And whoever is going to be facing Lee Moriarty next. So I was glad this was a very quick win. They beat the hell out of them very quickly. But they're kind of underrated. And I feel like after Cage of Agony fell apart, they haven't really gotten proper follow-ups. And I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle because I think they're really good. And if the tag titles were around, this tag division could actually be something really special with MXM, GYV, The Righteous, Iron Savages, The Infantry. Like, there's all these really great teams around, and they're fighting for nothing right now when they could just simply be fighting for something. So that's a little bit annoying, but I love watching them. They have such a cool presence about them, and they're in-ring badasses. But this was a quick win for these guys.
Yeah, quick and easy enhancement win. It was more to set up their matchup with the Hounds of Hell tomorrow on Collision. I really like Kaun, especially when he shows off his speed running the ropes like he did against Teriyaki here. He just shows off that he's got that nice little next boost to him in his speed in the ring. So it was really fun to see that. And Toa Liona just got the power and the explosiveness. So they're such a good team. I do agree with you. They feel very underrated on AEW TV. They always get something, and then it's immediately kind of taken back or taken a step back, whether it be the Cage of Agony, whether it be any of the opportunities that they got in Mogul Embassy or anything like that. So yeah, I want to see more for them. I want to see them get an opportunity to kind of spread their wings a little bit. And I like the fact they were given some promo time on Collision last week to set up the matchup with Hounds of Hell on Collision this coming week. So looking forward to that match. I think it should be a lot of fun, and they do match up well with each other, especially Brody and Buddy with Toa Liona and Bishop Khan. So some good stuff, some good matchmaking there by Tony Khan. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yes, we will. And almost 4,800 of you watching right now. So what I'm going to say is, if you guys don't want your matches to go so quick, if you're not looking for a squash match, if you're not trying to get in and out so fast, you know what I mean?
My friends, you know we always care about your performance at Fightful, and we want to keep that performance at a main event level. And you can with Blue Chew and the code Fightful. The same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a much more affordable option. Blue Chew is ready whenever you are, or whenever you're not. Helps give you that extra motivation. That way you can make sure that your performance is at a championship level. You go online to bluechew.com, and when approved by our online physicians, you get that confidence, you get that performance, and you get it shipped straight to your door. No awkward conversations with the doctor, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, all of that stuff. You use that code Fightful, get your first shipment free. That's how confident that they are that they're going to make you confident. What do you have to lose? BlueChew.com and the code Fightful.
Well, there you go. Make your matches last a little bit longer with Blue Chew. You actually don't even need the code Fightful anymore, but that wraps it up on the ROH side. We're going to bring on Joel and Cresta. There's been a lot of buzz around the TNA side of things, so excited for them to join and give us a little glimpse of what they're going to talk about on the post show here. Cresta getting herself situated, looking so pretty back there, but we'll bring her on now.
I'm good to go. I'm a psychopath. Hi.
Hi, pretty. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I was sports entertained by TNA. I have lived long enough to be a TNA faithful to, wow, this is so TNA. This was so bad to the point I was like, holy shit, I'm sports entertained. I was sports entertained by the there were two very TNA things that happened. And
you watched some wrestling tonight, not just wrestling. You watched some wrestling. Yeah.
Wrestling.
So flag, this was camp. This was camp positive and this was camp derogatory. And I lived for both of it.
Did either of you smash your replica digital media championships with a sledgehammer?
No, because I am not divorced, and I will not be giving up titles in the divorce.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I literally just saw that on my Twitter
I famously
feed.
am not married.
I'm
married
Which
to the game.
which I won't lie. That was very TNA of
that
them.
was so TNA.
That was the best pivot they could have possibly done.
Yes.
And I am very excited that Mance gets his shot in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves it. And working with Steph DeLander, the chemistry is there. They have that going. I'm a fan. It's much better than what they originally planned. This is good.
Well, I will simply believe you.
Hey, speaking of believing,
I will simply believe you.
will
It's
you
amazing.
believe? No, I need you to believe that if you're sitting front row and someone gives you a sign, you don't always have to accept it.
No.
I have to tell you
especially
that-
brother in the green shirt. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Can I talk to you?
small part of me, SB3 was like, is that SB3's brother? But no, I know.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. He is my brother. He is my brother. Not anymore.
He was my brother, but he's not really for the brothers, my brother. So he's not my brother.
I am taking back his black card.
I will say
this is mine. Let me get your black card for the sign.
Not the ribbon.
Here you go.
His face did look like his face looks like he's not excited to be holding that sign though. Like his face looks like, why are they passing these out?
Oh, no.
I didn't know it said that on the sign.
Because I know that context is king, my friends. I think everyone should know that the reason that person is reacting that way is because they cut to that shot after Tessa had taken a shot at the San Antonio Spurs being a subpar basketball team.
Well,
context matters.
Then I've got nothing for that guy then. But shout out to Jordan Grace for wrapping up her career and making the funniest move of all time after all.
Did you see her Instagram? Because that was comedy.
It was incredible the way that she really embraced nearly everybody in that moment.
Bring it in, everyone. Bring it, not you. Bring it in.
Yes, not you.
The person with the biggest arms. She's
yeah. She could hug the physical space of the locker room if she wanted that.
Yep. She's like, this is a family thing. Stay over your ass over there.
The specter of Bob Backlund was making her safe that day. He's but
just six years of hugging needed to get done that day.
Someone said, "Why does the other guy look like evil Ian Riccaboni?" I don't not see it, but I don't totally see it, but I don't not see it. You know what I mean? Like if that guy had a head of hair and a bow tie on.
We're talking about the guy holding the sign in the middle?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we're saying.
It looks like Ricky Starks' dorky cousin.
It kind of looks like a
Rocky Starks.
Rocky Starks.
My little brother Rocky Starks over here. My brother Rocky Starks.
Rocky Starks, my brother.
Well, we will let you get to it over here. I was gonna try and come up with a cute name like Fraxiom has, but Jolsta, Kroll,
Team Joestar. If you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, everyone is Joseph Joestar, so we are Joestar.
I'm in.
Yeah, they did give us that years ago.
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm in. All right, well, we will get out of here and let you guys get to it. Stay tuned. They had a much more exciting show than we did.
No, it's par for the course.
Enjoy, guys.
Thanks, pals. Oh my goodness. Hi, Cresta.
Hi.
How you doing?
I am fantastic. Like I was saying in the crossover, I was very sports entertained by the show this evening. It was a Greek tragedy, and I was here for all.
There was there was a lot of really good stuff tonight. I think it was as often I say, it's a mixed bag, but this was their first foray into live in 8 years. They kept bringing that up. They did a lot of really cool things. There's going to be a lot more information on Fightful Select coming in the next few days about signings and appearances and what comes next and what isn't and what is, and reactions, because I'm sure there will be plenty. But this was, I think that if this is the plan for TNA to do a big live Impact episode whether it's once a month or every couple of months, this is a pretty good start for them. They had some really strong stuff and some stuff that I was like, probably could have saved this for another time.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think for a live episode, this is a great way to start off with a bang. A lot of the surprise appearances, aside from NXT guys, Ali, for example, was fantastic. Again, I think this was everything that TNA, for better or for worse, I mean this with love, but this was kind of carny, and I lived. I mean that with the utmost respect, and I lived. This was great. I want to go to the next live one. I hope they do a next live. I hope they do live next week. Put it like that. I was sports entertained.
I can tell you now, it's not live next week. They've already taped stuff out of order, so that like the Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth stuff, that's already been taped. That was on before they went live tonight. They were live, or at least they were live to tape. They were definitely like everyone who was there during the time that this show was happening. But I'm trying to nail down whether, and actually I'm pretty sure Actually, you know what? I'm not even sure anymore. The point was that I'm trying to nail down about how this show was produced and what was live, what wasn't, how much was taped before they went live, or if they did something like what WWE does when they're taping 2 shows at once, where they'll be like an hour behind live versus tape. So it's like when SmackDown, they would do 2 shows, so they'd effectively tape about 4 hours. They would be 1 hour would start an hour before they actually went live, and then the second hour would be during the second hour. You know what I'm trying to say?
I got what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm on like a tape delay. So I'm trying to figure that out. But regardless, strong show. Good stuff. You ready to talk about it for realties?
I'm ready to give you guys my unbiased wrestling fickle wrestling opinions.
I'm here for the biases. And a 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it's time for your TNA Impact live post show for January 23rd, 2025. The show was live, and so are we. I am at Joel Pearl, or at thejoelpearl.com over on Blue Sky. It's where you find me most of the time. And with me, as always, the wonderful, magnificent, lovely Cresta Star. How are you tonight?
I am fantastic. I'm sports entertained, and I'm excited to talk about TNA Live. We're live, pal.
We are live, and y'all are with us. Come and join us. If you haven't already, slap a retweet or reskeet, whatever you're doing. Tell your friends that we are live and we're doing the thing. This is the place where you can talk about TNA every single Thursday nights. We're here. If there's a TNA Plus show that we deem appropriate, we cover that as well. And of course, the pay-per-views were live. Myself, Cresta, and Steven Jensen joined us over on youtube.com/Fightful this past Sunday after TNA Genesis. You can go find that. And of course, like I said, Thursdays we're here live talking Impact. They might not be live every week, but we sure as hell are. So go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the video. If you're listening in audio after the fact, maybe you're on your ride to school or doing the groceries, or you're just out taking a nice gingerly walk or a skate on the canal, whatever you're doing, leave a 5-star review on your favorite platform of choice. And of course, you can donate a super chat if you're live. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. I believe we take super thanks over on the YouTube, which allows you to donate to thank us or ask a question after the fact that we pick up in the comments and gets filtered into the next episodes. Or you can donate a Humper Chat. You want to tell them what the deal is?
I would sure love to. If you want to get your voice or your opinion or even your question answered here live, and super chats is just not your thing, you can head on over to humperchats.com. Yes, humperchats.com, where you can put your dollar amount and your comment. We get to keep a little bit more of the dollar amount, and Sean Rossap pays us enough to keep food in our bellies in these trying times. Yes, that's humperchats.com.
Ding.
Ding.
All right. And of course, FightfulSelect.com, the best $5, soon to be $6 in the business. Plenty of information, plenty of news, plenty of good stuff coming your way. Let's dig into the show. Overall thoughts. What do you think of the TNA Live episode? Their first foray into live in, they said, 8 years, over and over again, in case you didn't hear it.
I laughed. I cried. I was sports entertained. I was sports confused. I was sports disgusted. And I truly, in this episode tonight, understand this was a very TNA. This was peak TNA. 6-sided beer money TNA. This was good. This was I laughed. I was very sports entertained for all of the reasons you think. Joel, what did you think about this?
I think that, like I said, a lot of strong stuff tonight. A lot of stuff that I was like, I probably could have done something different. But you know what? Overall, they had a really good outline for what they wanted to accomplish. And I think they got a really good crowd to do it with. San Antonio was with it. Yeah. They were all big fans of it. They moved some storylines forward. They introduced some new ones. One thing that I have to say is commentary did a fantastic job of re-explaining to newer fans who someone is or what their importance is to the story. They did a really good job of just kind of resetting for those people who were watching Impact Live for maybe the first time in years or the first time ever. That goes a long way when you're trying to get new fans invested in your product. So I really had to put that over. It was good stuff.
I totally agree. From the way that they explained and introduced people, and I thought that the use of the NXT crossovers when they did was very smart. I am such a huge fan of TNA. And I know people joke and say that the cockroach of wrestling, you can't get rid of. I want nothing but the best of them. And if this leads to more eyes on them, more TV deals. I'm very happy. Like you said, a lot of statements were said tonight, clear, concise, that we're not going anywhere. We're a wrestling promotion here to stay. And if you watch us, you'll have amazing matches, some yucks, and this is amazing. I'm so happy for TNA overall.
Yeah, me too. I'm getting some live notes from some friends who are at the show. Just trying to keep up with that. And meanwhile, I'm trying to explain to them that this is the match that they're telling me is happening is something that's already been promoted. So they're taping the EY and Josh Alexander versus Sinner and Same match. So they're just like, it's happening now. I'm just like, well, yeah, I knew that.
You guys are a hot crowd. They're going to get this now, so next week they can chill.
I mean, it's good that they're doing it. They got to get it out of the way while they have the hot crowd. And you know what? Like I said, they were all for it. Show opens up with Joe Hendry, grabs his title belt, comes down to the ring and says he'll put this title on the line against anyone from anywhere. And out comes Santino, and he announces Joe Hendry defends tonight in the main event against the returning Matt Cardona. Cresta Star, this was the best trade GCW could have possibly made. PCO goes to GCW. Matt Cardona comes back to TNA. There's another. Believe me, they even got the options out of it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what was your reaction when you saw Matt Cardona's music play and him come out on the stage for this announcement?
I'm a huge Matt Cardona fan. And one thing about Matt Cardona is he's going to get a check. Like, there are two people in the wrestling business that are literally always ready. One is Jeff Jarrett. Two is Matt Cardona. He is going to go and get his. He's always ready. This was fantastic. I think when it comes to Joe Hendry, one of the main critiques we had was, can he take wrestling to that next level beyond the hee ha ha, this type of guy? So I do think someone like Matt Cardona, who will meet him at the hee ha ha, but will also, like we will talk about in the main event, will really give him the beats, was a fantastic choice. I love Matt Cardona.
Shout out to our friend Hyan. She's on the tapings tonight. Just saw that. So looking forward to seeing her next week. She rules. She's Texas local, so of course she would be on there. She's got a good opponent. We'll talk about her in a little bit. But this was good stuff. I was happy to see Matt Cardona back. Jeremy and I had spoken on In the Weeds about what's next for Matt Cardona, because it felt like the GCW Hammerstein show was Cardona's last one for GCW, at least for the time being. And if Cardona is looking to, I don't know, maybe make a Royal Rumble appearance, then this is the best opportunity to open that door. Not that he needed it. I'm sure he's on very good terms with WWE at this point, but he keeps hinting at it. And this is a pretty good way to kind of start or get that involvement in with TNA. And of course, he's been with TNA on and off for the last little while. It makes sense to have him show up. Do you want to talk about the main event now, or should we just kind of tease him and move on for now?
Let's do it, TNA. That we're going to tease him and move on. You have to watch the whole episode.
My goodness. You're evil. I appreciate it. They showed the Josh Alexander digital exclusive from Genesis. EY kind of walks in. Eric Young walks in and says, "Why are you quitting?" And then Josh just kind of walks off. And they come back to present day. Macklin is saying, "Hey, why do you even care about Josh Alexander?" Eric Young, like, what would you care? Eric Young says Josh is worth saving. Macklin's having none of it. And he mentions, I brought you out, so I'm going to do it to Josh too. And Eric says he's going to, pull him out of that hard place that he's found himself into. So it's kind of a redemption storyline. And Macklin is reluctant through the whole thing. Josh walks in. He says, "Thank you for your time." Goes to shake everyone's hand. Eric shakes his hand. Macklin does not shake his hand. This all comes to later on. I'm going to go to this now. Josh Alexander comes to the ring. He has this contractually obligated speaking to the audience.
That was so funny that they put that on the card. Commentary put that. He's contractually obligated. I'm only here so I don't get fined. Marshawn Lynch.
Which is hilarious if you remember when TNA picked up his option. The way that they had initially worded it was so awkward and so not good that they had to take it down and then basically reword it in a way that didn't feel so dirty. This was one of those moments where it was like, you just couldn't find a better way to put this. Just he's contractually obligated to show up. So here he is. He didn't quit, but he kind of quit. Anyway, he says he's the Iron Man. He's unbreakable. He gave everything he had every single time he went into the ring. And then he broke at Genesis. And he says he doesn't like himself. He doesn't like what he's become. He's not proud when he looks in the mirror. He talks about his son and his wife coming to the shows and being the TNA guy. Basically mentioning his time at TNA has been a dream come true. It's time to step away. And then, as expected, we talked about this before, what happens to Sinner and Saint? Because on Sunday, Cresta, I said, I feel like Sinner and Saint are sitting in the back. Josh is saying, I quit. And they're just like, he's doing what?
What about me, pal?
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did. They basically said, well, no, you aren't. And they turn on Josh Alexander. Sinner and Saint go to beat up Josh. Eric Young comes out. And this is the funniest shit to me because Eric Young's Canadian. Josh Alexander's Canadian. Sinner, Saint, both guys, they're Canadian. Eli comes out and says, you don't mess with Texas.
That was the funniest thing. Because I'm like, wait, isn't everyone in here connected? Listen, if I'm not watching this, I'd assume he's from Texas. He sounds and looks like a Texan man. So maybe.
Eric lives in Nashville.
Listen, I'm just trying. I got nothing. I'm trying to make excuses. Okay, I'm trying to make excuses.
I just love that these two Canadians are challenging two more Canadians. You don't mess with Texas. It's so funny. Next week they're taping it now, but next week it'll air. Eric Young and Josh Alexander team up to take on Sinner and Saint. People in the chat saying it's a showcase for Sinner and Saint, and yes, it is, and I'm very much looking forward to that because they deserve it. They're ready to break out our Sinner and Saint. So this is the time. I'm looking forward to this match. You too?
Yes. Hold on, I got a cough. I don't want to do it in y'all.
Yeah, that's the stuff. You get that cough out.
It don't pay rent. Let me tell you two things about this segment, right? Josh Alexander found out very quickly being a healing for the faint of heart. They hate you no matter what. I liked what Josh Alexander had to say. He's absolutely right. He talked about this in many promos before, how he wanted to work for TNA. This is his dream come true. And he did carry the company on his back. Mike Santana alludes to this later on when he addresses the crowd, that he thanks Josh Alexander for carrying it on his back to get to the point where TNA is back on TV. I completely agree with that. The problem is the crowd, they were very, what have you done for me lately? And it's kind of, on a personal level, it's kind of sad to see y'all booing the shit out of Josh Alexander. I understand why we're doing it, but he's given so much to this company, and now he's trying to do a heartfelt apology. Sinner and Saint turn it on him. Yeah, I would do it too, because you led me to a life of crime, and now you're talking about you found Jesus? Oh, nah. This is a gang. You can't leave.
Chat's asking if there's a Canadian version of Texas. There is. It's called Alberta.
I was going to say Ottawa, but that's the only other place I know.
That's where I grew up, and it's definitely not that. No, Ottawa is like a Washington type of town. It's a government town.
Washington State or Washington D.C.? Okay.
DC. Not a province. The province of Alberta is like the state of Texas.
Yeehaw!
Something like that. Gia Miller, speaking of yeehaw, is because she's from the South and she's got the accent. It's not because she's a yeehaw. Anyway, she's looking for Nick Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth walks out, and nobody wants that, but it's hilarious. She says, I'm looking for the guy with the name on the sign. And then Nick comes out and says, I'll address everyone next week. They filmed that earlier tonight. And then Ryan just wants to be the PR guy. I love that Ryan Nemeth is still leaning into my big brother, my big brother. It's such amazing shit.
He's perfectly annoying. You know that he tried to be like, it's for me. Like, yo, Ryan, get out of here, bro. I low-key, I want a Ryan Nemeth versus Nick Nemeth match. I don't want to see big brother beat up on little brother. And then you got to get even bigger brother to come, or mom. And
didn't they do a Ryan Nemeth versus Nick Nemeth match?
I don't know, man.
I gotta look this up. I'm pretty sure they do.
I do like their dynamic together, where Nick Nemeth is like, bro, I'm just trying to get it together. And Ryan Nemeth's like, shut up, it's our show. I love it. Ryan Nemeth is perfectly annoying. I think that we are in such a day and age in wrestling where some people would see this type of character and be like, damn, I can't do anything with it. And people like him who embrace it, fantastic. This is great. I love it. Even if he never wrestled again, I just heard him complain and be annoying. I give it 2 years before I'm like, all right.
Two things. One, Nick and Ryan Nemeth have never had a one-on-one match according to Cage Match, so it's entirely possible that they've never faced off, at least on a televised match. Secondly, the one thing that I really love is Nick comes out and mentions, they say, I'm looking for the guy on the sign. Ryan has his name on his wrist tape, and he just puts it over Nick Nemeth's name on the stupid placard.
I have a little brother. That is peak little brother energy, bro. Jesus Christ.
It was just, again, when it started, I was like, this is so stupid, brother. But then he leaned into it. You give it 10 seconds and you realize, oh my God, it's perfect. Ryan Nemeth, is putting on his Emmy-winning performance right now.
Listen, you got my vote, Ryan. At first I was like, ugh, and now I'm like, yes.
Hey, what do they say about every great character in wrestling? It's your real self turned up to 11. If that's what Ryan does, that's what Ryan does. It's great. Speaking of great, the Elegance are back in the tag title picture. They won. They teamed up with Rosemary tonight to take on Masha, Slamovich, and Spitfire. Masha is the Knockouts World Tag Team Champion, and of course, Spitfire are still the Knockouts Tag Team Champions. When they announced this match, I said, "Oh, they're just prolonging the inevitable." Iceman is in the ring, the personal concierge, and he stomps on a 10-gallon hat, which is hilarious just to watch and be like, "Oh, there's only one thing I feel towards this group of people here in Texas," and he's just.
He's such a good ringleader. I love him.
Oh, it's a 3-ring circus, and he's just in charge. The Elegant Cowgirls are great. What did you think about Masha Slamovich's ring jacket tonight?
And I think I said this on the Genesis show, and if I didn't, I definitely wrote it. Either it's fashion, and I don't understand fashion, or that's the jacket from Grandma's Boy, and you cannot convince me otherwise. You cannot convince. It's fashion. Is it fashion? It's fashion. Yeah, it's fashion. And maybe I need to touch the fashion to change my life. But am I going to tell her that? No, because that woman is terrifying. So it's fashion, but also me.
You calling her Ant Girl? Is this what we're doing?
I'm not. I certainly am not saying that. Maybe it's the Matrix. It's giving Matrix Neo, but it's also giving Grandma's Boy. I'm so sorry.
No. I think you're spot on with that. This match was good. This was funny. They picked up where the tag title match left off. There was a lot of really good tag team style wrestling for a 6-woman. Masha Slamovich at one point comes in, and I love this spot. She runs Heather by Elegance into Rosemary's arm, and then lariats Rosemary, and then Rosemary DDTs Heather as a result. I like those little setup triple spot moves. Again, the match goes on until Cora Jade appears from NXT. She is giving out the envelope to Masha Slamovich with the X through it, the kill wall photos. And then that distracts everyone enough so that Ash gets the roll-up win, pinning Danny Luna. The Elegance win. They're going to win those tag titles so fast.
I have to say, this is my second introduction to Cora Jade. And I'm kind of like...
She didn't do the thing tonight. She didn't do the emo.
But even if then it's kind of giving Harpo, who is this woman? I'm giving it a chance because I don't like new things. I'm an old lady. Okay. And all my friends like, no, you're going to love Cora Jade. She's pretty good. You're going to like her. But given her, you can't do me. And I'm cutting you off right now. That was my only complaint.
I like this, by the way. Dex is saying the Masha's gear could have been a Harlem Heat reference, especially for Sensational Sherry, because she wore the big black jacket like that.
You are right. You are right. She did.
Yeah. Oh, she did the thing. I missed it. Brendan saying that Cora did the emo cry, which I absolutely loathe. But she did it when she gave Masha the envelope. I need to go back and watch that so I can.
I'm waiting for it to get good, but right now it's like, girl, don't get beat up, girl, because I think Masha's gonna eat you.
Cora's got a match on next week's episode, so you'll get a good taste of what she can do. Again, Cora Jade is very talented. She's been around this business for quite a few years, considering her age. The one thing that set her back was that she had an ACL injury and then another ACL. Like, she's had injuries that have kept her out of the ring for almost 18 months. As a result,
Jesus Christ,
you haven't had a chance to really see what she can do. But if you watch some of her older stuff, even before she came to WWE, like, she had something going. There's a reason why she's still there. That being said, stop with the emo cry face. I hate it.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's my
just hardcore emo cry.
Joel doesn't like the emos. You heard it here first.
I'm fine with the emo. I went to GCW emo fight in New York a few years ago. It's a good time.
There's a joke in there about crying, but far be it for me to make it. I mean, I'm the right one to make it, but
say, we all do enough of it here on this channel.
We're wrestling fans.
Oh my goodness. Let's hit a super chat. Eo says TNA trending number 1 in sports on X before the main event. Folks are watching. It's undeniable. This was, again, a really strong night for them, both in presentation. They had the fact that they were live for the first time in many, many years. They did a lot of things right. They also got a very hot crowd that was really into it, and they were into this match. The Hardys come out and they beat JDC and Moose. Traditional Hardy match. JDC and Moose are fantastic wrestlers in their own right. It was a good traditional tag match, like I said, but the crowd was really into it, especially when the Hardys came out. They were just levels above. No one touches the Hardys. That's why I'm saying your world title match can be Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana in UBS Arena, and the Hardys are still going to have a breakout massive match that bring people out there. Hardys beat JDC and Moose. I did notice that commentary is calling him Johnny Dango Curtis more and more, not going on his initials JDC, but otherwise good match. Lish distracts Daniel Spencer because of course the referee Daniel Spencer needs to be distracted, because I see you, Daniel Spencer. You keep getting distracted and it's just going to lead to your downfall. JDC fights Jeff. Matt makes the save. Jeff hits the Swanton Bomb on Moose for the win. And then post-match, they start teasing the 23, which we'll get to in a second. Let's talk about the match. What'd you think? Because straightforward to me.
It's a really good match. It was exactly what it needed to be. Want to give a shout out to that column top Lish had on. That was a really nice orange on your skin. I'm a jabroni. I'm a nobody, but I would wear orange again. It looks really nice. It looked really nice on her. It made her look glowy. That's just me. A connoisseur of fashion. Yeah, this was a really good. The only other pop you got louder than this, or equally as loud, was people singing Joe Hendry. And by the end of the night, they sang the first verse and was tired. So the Hardys, baby. I love the Hardys. The Swanton Bomb, the ref distraction. I wrote down Daniel Spencer ? And it was indeed Daniel Spencer. So I think that's going to be my new way to, instead of calling it ref distraction, like, you got Daniel Spencered.
Damn. He's catching strays from both of us now.
I mean, it's not a stray.
No, it's good. It's good. Don't worry.
But let me say, there are few refs very few, not a very few, that's oxymoron, but a small group of refs that have a personality or a thing. Like Aubrey, for the ref with 1 HP, she's got like a steel plate around it. So she could take a bump. Every other ref dies immediately, disintegrates. Daniel Spencer, he's blind. We support all people and we want to make sure that they get work, but he's blind and we know this. I love him boots, but every time there's a spot where it's like the ref is down or the ref didn't see anything, I write Daniel Spencer. Now come on here, you're like, well, Daniel Spencer got bamboozled again. I'm like, well,
I will say this. I need to know who the new referee that they had tonight was, because I will call him Jersey Shore ref.
What?
During the knockout 6-woman tag, there's a referee he's got the line in his hair, he's got the spike.
I don't know who that was.
He's a new guy, or he was at least brought in for this particular set of tapings. Very curious. I didn't do any research, didn't ask around. I just saw him and I said, who's Jersey Shore ref over there?
That's crazy. I do want to follow up with something that Scott George said too, because I was about to say that. Moose getting pinned on TV is a good way to drag out. Well, maybe Moose doesn't need the digital media champ. What if Matt or Jeff were champs? Will it happen? Probably not. But it would be cute, or a way to drag out a storyline, or whenever they do drop the tag titles, it'll be like, well, I did pin Moose. If Moose is still digital media, I'm trying to massage a situation and grasp at fingers. But I do think it was interesting that Moose took the pin and not JDC.
It's also interesting that you've put the digital media championship on Moose.
I'm sorry. I meant to say the X Division. I'm sorry. The digital media champion was lost in a tragic sledgehammering accident.
Well, they're back. 23 is out. Sami Callihan is like, who are you? Show yourself. Part of me was like, are they going to pivot, or are they just going to like do lights up and it's Sammy's 23 and he just laughs and he's got the belt or something? No, they don't. Thankfully they didn't. They pivoted in the best way possible. Steph DeLander comes out. She's wearing the digital media championship. She says, I got it in the divorce. And I love that they just right off, they got rid of the wedding. They got rid of the title belt. They basically just blew it all off in one fell swoop. All you had to do, sign the divorce papers. And then she says, well, I've also brought my new boyfriend. And that's when I said, they didn't bring him in. And then the lights go off. They go on. Mance Warner, old Mance, debuts. The former GCW world champion just dropped that title this past week at Hammerstein. to Avi, great guy. Mance Warner makes his TNA debut. I thought this was really good stuff. And of course, Steph DeLander in real life is connected to Mance Warner. It's no secret. They have a podcast. They talk about their relationship, and it's great. I'm actually very excited to see these two work together in the ring in TNA because the chemistry is there. They both know how to do this. What did you think of Mance? Like, did you know about Mance Warner coming into this? And what did you think of the whole Steph DeLander reveal? I wanted your thoughts because, like, you're a different kind of connected to this.
So this is where I truly understood that TNA is gonna TNA. Like, don't get me wrong. If you give me an explanation because something happened on the outside and this is what it is, I'll accept it. I ain't got no choice. But holy shit. I lived. It was kind of like, well, that's what it is. And we got divorced. And what are you going to do? And I got a new boyfriend. Was it Matt Cardona, your boyfriend? You was trying to get a...
No. Everyone knows Matt's married. That's known. It's known. Chelsea's out there.
That's different. That's done. That's different. Okay, all right. And at that moment, I said, it's a great, like you said, it's a great way to pivot, all things considered. So I hope we can now put to rest that this is a work. Baby, if this is a work, then we all need to clock in 9 to 5. I don't think this, for what it was, I laughed and I chose to be sports entertained, but this was a very TNA thing to do. I'm not mad at it. I'm just like, tee-hee. Now, I'm not super familiar with Mance Warner, but if it came from GCW, that means there's going to be blood and I'm upsetty spaghettis.
Fair enough. There was some good stuff in there. For sure. I'm looking forward to what they do. I think Mance should just kind of roll through Sami Callihan and just keep that going. I don't know who
bloody match. I don't know what about those two men just scream blood match, and I don't like it.
I just don't know who the actual digital media champion is. Is it Steph DeLander or is it Mance Warner? Does Steph just give it to Mance? Because I don't think Steph DeLander can. I don't know what her status is. I don't know if she's cleared or not.
That's the other thing. Because I was like, I thought you like speedy recovery, but I thought you were still recovering. Okay, I could understand doing it in a managerial, but if you wouldn't you have to that regard? I will say there are some undercard people that you could have just held a tournament for. I don't mind it being on Mance. I don't know the young man, but if he was GCW champion, okay. But I want to give it a chance. I'm sports intrigued. I don't know enough about it, so I'm gonna Blues Clues it. I need another clue. The clue is blue. NXT Championship. Let's just move on. Yeah, someone in the chat saying it could be both of them, but we'll find out soon enough what the digital media championship is. Honestly, it's a joke to begin with, so you could just do that. NXT Tag Team Championships are on the line. Fraxiom defeats the Rascalz. Ariana Grace is on commentary, and she is hilarious. Introduces her best friends, Fraxiom. It's a fast-paced match, as expected. The highlight of this, honestly, wasn't even a part of the match that was wrestling-based. It was when they're chanting TNA, and Ariana Grace says, "They're cheering for me." And commentary just says, "Let's just leave that alone." She was so... Like, there was a ditzy monotone about her. I'm like, oh my God. Like, while Santino's over the top, she's under the top at this age. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but these are actually my best friends. And when there was an interference, did you know they were going to do that? I don't even know those guys. They're not my friends. I don't know those guys. I don't even like them. So during the match, they get into the super kick party. It's a great match. Really go out of your way to watch it. They do the street sweeper, easy for me to say at this hour, for a great near fall. And then Wesley comes out and he gets the distraction in. And then Tariq Igwe and Tyson DuPont interfere. They're NXT kind of group now. Wesley kind of grabbed those guys, and Ariana's like, "They're not my best friends. They're not my best friends." And then the Spanish Fly from Axiom, this Phoenix Splash from Nathan Frazier, and that's the combo they hit on Trey, get the win. Originally, I was thinking this would just be a triple threat at Vengeance Day for the 3 tag teams, or maybe I'm thinking the Rascalz will find a third and do a 6-man. And that third, judging by what they're promoting for next week, is probably Ace Austin. Rascalz and Ace Austin versus Wesley and Tariq and Tyson. What do you think about that? Okay. I mean, I know you don't know Tariq and Tyson, but you know. I mean, well, I guess what I'm trying to say, with all due respect to everyone involved, because I know this young man just had a kid. What about Myron Reed? Like, why don't we just have the Rascalz beat up this rascal? Because you're acting like you're the brother who got who's acting up. You need. I know he just had a baby, so that's why I'm like, okay, maybe he's not ready to come back. But I'm not mad at Ace Austin because somehow I feel like Ace Austin would be in the treehouse too. I somehow feel like he fits in that. I'm not gonna lie, this match was really good. I don't know why they did a MacGuffin of Wesley and them, but I understand because you're haters, and sometimes you gotta wake up extra early to be a hater and to make sure that the guys that you don't like don't get over, even though I screwed them out of a championship before. And commentary definitely reminded us of that. They're like, hey, this will do this back in NXT. But Wesley came out and was like, nah, I'm being a hater. I'm a hater. I would like to see maybe, but there's 3 of those guys. So what do? Each team gets a 3-way, or is it just like?
I think it's more likely that Tyson and Tariq get one team, Fraxiom, and then the Rascalz. But because Wesley is involved in this whole thing, I think it's more likely that they're going to do a 6-man tag. And they can do it on NXT TV, or they can do it at Vengeance Day. That's what I'm saying. Like they have a couple of weeks that they could do both. They could do the triple threat tag team match at Vengeance Day, and they could do a 6-man tag and leave Fraxiom out of it for 1 week. I don't know what they're expecting, but they're definitely working on something. And if Ace Austin gets a little bit of NXT time, I think that would be very good too.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you said that. Because that's something I thought in the back of my mind, that Ace Austin in NXT setting, because he's definitely got a WWE presentation, with all due respect. I think he'd be fantastic. Okay, we'll talk about him in another time. This match was really good. Never seen Axiom or Nathan Frazier, and these two, their chemistry. I think at one point Axiom did an octopus stretch on Wentz, and then Frazier did the ropes twice and then kicked the shit out of him. That didn't even look like a worked kick. It looked like he just kicked this man. I for some reason, I thought Nathan Frazier was the guy from Grizzled Young Vets, but he's not. And I was like, wait, really good. That's what I'm trying to say. This team is really good. The kick to the no sell to the pop-up after he killed you. I want to see these guys in a team versus the Rascalz, period, because the Rascalz are so good. Their chemistry, that was such a good match. I would love to see it. And as far as the 6-way is concerned, I don't know who out of the 3 for Wesley's group would be the tag team. I would assume Wesley and one other, but wouldn't that guy feel some type of way unless we jump him,
It'd be the 2 big dudes. It'd be Tyson and Tariq.
Wesley, they don't got no beef with these guys. This is just, you did this, Mimi.
Yeah, but Tyson and Tariq are the tag team, and Wes can just be their manager in this case.
This is your beef, Wes. This is literally your beef, Wes.
This is why I'm saying it's a 6-man tag more likely to do Rascalz and Ace Austin versus Wesley and Tariq and Tyson.
Make it make sense, Joel.
I just did.
That doesn't work for me, pal.
Oh, well, you got to start watching NXT to get there.
I need Wesley, this is literally your fault. Okay, you know what? Whatever. I will watch NXT on Tuesday. I don't go to karaoke no more. So this Tuesday, I will watch NXT and yell at my screen.
You can also watch it after hour, whatever, not important. Jaleel Awesome sent a super chat saying, do you believe John Cena will show up in TNA? In the wrestling business, they say never, but if I put a percentage on it, 2%. I do not think John Cena will show up in TNA. They've made it very clear that this is an NXT focused partnership. I think it's more likely that if Joe Hendry gets his wish and continues to call out John Cena, that what you'll see is those two in the ring together at the Royal Rumble, and Joe Hendry gets his big, I did it moment.
I will agree with that. I will say, if you're looking for anyone main roster to show up on TNA, well, the only person who might is AJ Styles. And they've been throwing it in a seance circle since as long as I've been watching to try to get AJ to come and say hi. So, they had that cameo that one time. So, if there's anybody, I think there's a 14% chance you would see AJ Styles in TNA.
I think it's a more likely chance to see him. You see AJ Styles. That being said, I don't know if that's a Slammiversary appearance, or I don't know, and nobody knows where Bound for Glory is going to be. If they pick another big venue for Bound for Glory and you need to fill the place up, AJ Styles would probably be a good person to have around. And we don't know if AJ Styles is going to be cleared in the next 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 months. We're still waiting to get any sort of update with his injury, because even that was a freak incident. Like, comes back from injury, gets injured in his first match back. Everyone thought it was a work, or at least many people thought it was a work. They thought it was part of a storyline. Turns out he was actually hurt, and he's just been off TV ever since. And that shit is really tough to deal with. So we'll see what they do.
Oh, I did not know that he was really. I was one of those people like, I thought he was just off TV. Speedy recovery, AJ Styles. Holy crap.
Oh, we all thought that it was part of a story at first, because Sean had mentioned this 100 times. Like, they followed the injury, they didn't cut away, like they kept on it, and whatever it was, like they just changed the presentation of the injury. He was hurt, so he's off TV, and we don't know when he comes back. But obviously, wish AJ Styles a speedy recovery. But he would be a big get for TNA if they can bring him in just for one last appearance, one big, again, I bring up Bound for Glory because you can do the Hall of Fame induction. He could have a match, maybe. I don't know if that's part of it. Have him show up in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, have him win it, the whole 9 yards.
Just have, like, even there are 3 people I think about when it comes to like TNA and its super resurgence. AJ Styles is one of them. Samoa Joe, Sting. I want to say Steiner Math because that promo lives rent free in my head. But even if they just came by, did the pageant parade and walked by, that'd be cute. I'm seeing what someone put in chat where he said, I'm cooked. I'm like, yikes. I hope that's not the case. Ugh.
Yeah, it was a weird injury. It was if you go back and watch it, you'll see, like, it doesn't look harmful. They replay it and it just looks like he planted his foot wrong and then took a move. It was like anyway, Yushigo Roshi type of move, and he just it just went the wrong way. And he doesn't look hurt until he is hurt. It sucks, but
yeah. Unfortunately, that's wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's never the big bombastic moves that take you down. It's often something really simple. Here's a good example. Shotzi, her most recent injury that she just came back from, she jumped from the top from the ring apron to the floor, and that tore her ACL.
Damn, ACL's like, I have to go. What the fuck? Oh, sorry.
It's fine. We're 2 hours into this thing. It's okay. 2 hours into the stream. It's 45 minutes or 35 minutes into the promo. Anyway, Santana comes out and cuts a promo. Hot crowd entrance. Love it. Santana always gets that entrance to the crowd, and it's always good. The promo's not much. It's literally him just saying, this is my year. I'm going to be TNA World Champion. Told my dad that I'd come and do what I said I would do because he taught me how to do that. And then all of a sudden, Mustafa Ali comes out. He's returned. He's announced that he's signed a new deal with TNA. That information will be available on Fightful Select once we get it as to how long it could be, but we don't know. Nobody knows. The last one was a 6-month deal and he got an extension on it. So it could be the same this time. TNA deals are weird. Nothing really matters as long as you show up for work, unless you're PCO. But anyway, he's launching a world championship campaign as Mustafa Ali, and he does it right in front of Mike Santana. And Santana's like, this motherfucker. I love this. 2 guys on opposite ends of the babyface and heel spectrum, the good guy, bad guy spectrum, are absolutely going to meet in the middle at one point and have to fight for number 1 contendership or just some sort of jockey for position to get a world title shot. I know I said the stuff with Frankie Kazarian, but man, could you imagine if it's Mustafa Ali who beats Joe Hendry, walks into UBS, and it's Mustafa Ali versus Mike Santana for that world title. Maybe a little too quick to do it, but I'm just thinking about it. And I think that's a pretty interesting way to go.
Not mad at that. I see it 2 ways too. You could use Ali to prolong Santana before he gets to the championship, right? Right. Ali coming back at that moment, I was like, TNA, you wrote this just for me, huh? I was sports entertained. Also, I think there's something to be said about a politician guy coming in, stepping on a little guy who had to work his way up their time to just smile and ignore him and then leave. Oh, Santana's going to kill you. Oh, I can't wait. The match between these two, fight forever. I can't wait. I cannot wait. This match between these two is going to be superb, fantastic, sports entertainment, wrestling.
I'm really, really looking forward to Ali's return. He's got his first match back on next episode. I'm curious as to how they play this out. Again, the vision is Slammiversary is Santana's time. you can't have Mustafa Ali lose again at Slammiversary because that would just be strange. So I'm curious as to how this all plays out. Ao saying, I think a Hendry Mustafa Ali campaign feud, Mustafa campaign feud would be interesting. Hashtag we believe in Joe Hendry versus hashtag in Ali we trust. There is a digital media component there. And yeah, like Ao's also mentioning, like Ali didn't even acknowledge Santana.
Such a tea bag.
And that's why the two of them are eventually going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to come to blows. I'm really curious as to how they play this out, because they will eventually meet up, have a match, and the winner, I assume, would get the world title match next.
I'm thinking like Ali could just be, if I'm fantasy booking this, Ali is doing this because I don't respect Santana. You're a little guy. Thank you for clearing the way for me. You're a politician. Oh, you want me to acknowledge you? Here's a pittance. Goodbye. Thank you. I'm not fighting this guy. He's crazy. He's crazy. I said what did to Josh Alexander. That guy's crazy. He didn't want to fight Jake something. Oh, his hammer. So he didn't like this. It's not about weight limits. It's about no limits, but there should be weight limits. Okay. Ali don't want to fight this guy, so he's going to ignore him. And then when it gets too tough, Santino, this man is unsafe. This is the type of people you have working here. I've seen this before, and I'm already ready. I'm ready. I am ready because I think it's going to get to a point where Santana's like, you're not going to keep interrupting me. And if you think you are, I'm going to take your shoes.
At one point, the Ali campaign has to say, if I win, I'm gonna bring Impact back to greatness. I'm gonna get us to deal with Fox Sports. I'm gonna bring back the 6-sided ring. We're gonna bring Dixie back. Like he needs to lean into the nostalgia, because if this is in Ali we trust and we're doing this. When he came back tonight, I was like, what story can you tell? Because we talked about the parallels of his last time. You know, how far can you take this campaign as champion? Now it's going to change even further, because what's going, look at the political landscape in the US, and what's he going to do to mirror that in 2025 in TNA? I think that's something he needs to do, is just talk about all the old good things that TNA did, or the bad things that he thinks TNA did great. Like, we're going to bring back Bischoff.
Bring in Jeff Jarrett for the memes. Bring it, like, JBL just randomly showed up tonight, so you can bring in Jeff. Wee-woo.
He's just going to start bringing in, like, I got the aces and eights here, but it's like...
bringing Bully Ray would be such a heel move. Oh, that sports entertained me on Joel. You possibly. I love chaos. So that'd be chaotic. Oh, that's great. Somebody said EC3, and that was gonna be the next words I'm like, what do we just bring in EC? Let's do it. Main event mafia. It doesn't matter.
The only reason I want EC3 to show up once is just so I can hear trouble.
I don't even get that reference. I've been wrestling, baby.
His theme music was just awful.
R.I.P.
Yeah, someone in the chat's mentioning Ali with Dixie Carter. That's what I'm saying. He brings out Dixie Carter and just wreaks havoc on TNA. I'm gonna make TNA great again. I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna. Whatever. We're not gonna keep going. Well, because the irony here is that next up is the Tessa promo. Who cares?
You know what? I think there's a perfect quote from wrestling. You may know this wrestler. Her name is Brelandra Rhodes. She, on one episode of Dynamite, said, "Who said it was open mic night, bitch?"
Well, her dad's there. Tully's there, and that was great. She basically talks about the history, and that's it. Crowd just boos vociferously. And in my eyes, there's two ways you can see this. One is, oh my God, she's getting so much heat. Oh my God, that's great. And people really hate her. That's what they're supposed to do. She's getting a reaction. And the other way is, kind of feels like go away heat. And that's not the heat you want. People just I was too busy listening to people boo her than I was at all interested to hear her talk. AO in the chat saying good promo. He's like, sure, she hit her points. She talked about the history of her family in San Antonio, Texas. Whoop-de-doo. She did the reset promo that everyone does. Sure. That was not Tully's TNA debut. I was there in the crowd at Rebellion when Tessa took on Gail Kim and won, and Tully was about 3 rows ahead of me. So he's been around. It's just one of those things. I don't really have much to add about Tessa.
I will say this because I have no notes as well. She definitely has go away heat with the crowd, with most of the fans. And I will say, if you are doing it to get eyes on the product, giving her a live mic is never going to work. It's never going to work. If you're going to force her down our throat, she needs to wrestle and do backstage promos only. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. At one point in Espanol, they were calling her, not nice words. It's calling her puto. And that's her fault. I'm not going to stick up for somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I just questioned the thought of why you thought this was a good idea to give her a live mic. If you're gonna do it backstage, do it backstage. If you're gonna do it, but if a live mic, that's gonna happen every time. That's gonna, no matter where you go, that's gonna happen every time. Because beyond, this is just my personal opinion. Take this what you want. Beyond you being a racist, baby, you didn't want to drop the title, so people are gonna boo you no matter what.
Once again, it's not a work. And I can tell you, Jeremy and I have talked about this on our show on In the Weeds. Media-wise, they won't let you ask the questions about it. They do not want you asking. They say, if you ask, interview's over. So no, it's not a work. They're not allowing anyone to ask the questions about Tessa's past, about the way people have commented, the things people have said about her past conduct. This could be a very easy thing for her to go on an apology tour. I don't care how honest it is. I don't care how sincere it comes off. Something needs to be said. Coach her up as much as you want. Make it as prepared and as I don't care. You cannot expect people to just let it go.
Yeah.
Accountability matters. Accountability matters. And at the end of the day, you can say, we did it, we tried, and then you just go from there. Some people will be willing to accept whatever she says as good enough, and others will make do and deal with it as it is. But you can't go on ignoring it, and you can't go on telling people you can't ask about it, because it does not work that way. She shouldn't be starved out. We talked about this on the post show at Genesis, and Sean said it. We all agreed. She doesn't deserve to be starved out. She should be allowed to work. That's fine. No one should be saying that she shouldn't be able to get a job, but they cannot go on ignoring the reality of what happened 6 years ago and all the nothingness that has come from there.
It'll bleed over. In this situation, your personal will bleed over into your professional. And this isn't heel heat. This is go away heat. This is, I don't want to see this shit heat. The promos aren't bad. Her wrestling's never been a problem. But you've got to do something. You've got to do something. You got to do something. Like, I can't even look at this objectively. Like, you got to do something. You got to apologize. You got to do something.
This is easy. I was young. I was stupid. I said things that I knew I do not believe, and I do not respect myself for having said. I messed up. I'm sorry. I am not that person anymore. I don't care how you say it. I don't care where you say it. You can do it on your dad's podcast. I don't care. You need to address it, because if you don't, then this continues. And this pushback from us and from other people who review shows, who do media interviews, we will continue to ask.
I will also go on.
I'm sorry. I'm going to do it. She lives a public life. These allegations against her have been made publicly, and she continues to ignore every single time. You are a public figure. You've been brought into this business again with every issue that you have. Again, stop with it's a work. It's not a work. There have been people who have been continuously outspoken from other places that have nothing to do with Tessa. She does not acknowledge it. That is the problem. There is no accountability, and there has been no attempt at accountability on a public square.
I'll even go ahead and say that if the disrespect is in public, the apology needs to be in public. And the apology also needs to be in private. Beyond I think that some people get very, well, well, she said something racist, and that's this. It's not just that. It's the allegations of bullying. It's the allegations of racism. You're not apologizing for it. You won't let people try to help you clear it up. Like Joel said, even if you said, yo, I was stupid, yo, I do too much wrestling, I'm stupid. People can at least give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you don't want to own up to it, then this is what's going to happen. I personally won't ever feel bad for someone who won't admit that they were wrong and won't apologize for it. I can't. I'm impossible. I can own up when I'm wrong. We say dumb and stupid things. Like, come on now. But to not, I think it'll always negate how good you are. And this goes from anybody. Because, like, Hogan, quote unquote, was the greatest. And we boo this man. Relentlessly. At some point, you gotta try. You gotta say sorry.
And for the person saying Jordynne Grace didn't have a problem with her, working with her, no, she did. She pushed back. Again, initially she didn't, but Jordynne Grace is a professional. And the way she pushed back was, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not doing any in-the-ring promos with her. And they didn't. If you look at the whole build-up, there was no mic time between the two of them. It was completely separate except for the little beatdowns that they did along the way.
Like I said, if you want to go forward amicably and you want to try to, we're going to see her. We're going to see her. This is what it is. You can't give her a live mic. You can't give her a live mic. That's just what it is. She's going to have to do backstage promos only because they're going to boo her wherever she goes.
Just got to address it. And I don't care how you put up with it. I don't care how you explain it. Just got to address it because shit like this is why people just are not interested in watching TNA to a certain degree.
I just muted this. There's a few wrestlers who, when they get on the mic, I mute, and this was one of them. And it's unfortunate. Anyway, let's get on to this main event. I'm tired. I am tired of this woman.
Tell me about it. TNA World Championship, Joe Hendry defends against Matt Cardona. Boy, was this another convoluted mess. Frankie Kazarian's on commentary. I think it's hilarious that they keep having former WWE guys to work Joe Hendry. They do a ref bump because Daniel Spencer is always in the way. Pop up powerbomb. There's no referee there. Cardona low blows Hendry. This is my favorite part, Cresta. Cardona grabs the world title. JBL appears because of course he does. Hits the clothesline and leaves. Does a stare down with Joe Hendry. And what does Cardona do? Still uses the damn belts.
Let me tell you something, brother. JBL, I kind of miss the days of you drinking beer behind the door and the people couldn't go around the door because what are you doing here? Also, Daniel Spencer. Shout out to Daniel Spencer.
Stop it. Don't shout him out. What are you doing?
Listen, he got half an HP. Most wrestlers have 1 HP. He got 0.5. You look at him too much. He's like, that's it. I'm on the floor. That's it.
Just folds like a Thanksgiving turkey.
I mean, same. Say if a wrestler said, Cresta, I want to wrestle you right now, and they pointed at me, call me Kevin Nash. I'm taking the
diving. He's taking a dive.
I'm taking a dive. This match was fantastic. Like you said, it was convoluted. I thought Frankie Kazarian was going to jump in. It was a good showcase, I think, for Joe Hendry's first defense. Because Matt Cardona let Joe Hendry's meat on his chest, hamburger help us. Aha! He was giving him the chops. And I want to know what Matt Cardona's secret is to having a full beard with no gaps everywhere. Because holy crap, his beard looks photoshopped on. It's so good.
They kind of look like they could be brothers. Cardona and Hendry. But the hair, the beard. They look like they could be related. I'm just saying.
I had to really think in my brain. I have seen Joe Hendry with no beard before. And I have seen Zack Ryder with no beard before. So I had to really, maybe cousins.
Yeah, cousins. That's the one. It's fine. This was fine. Joe Hendry gets the win. He gets the standing ovation. The crowd goes home. Well, doesn't go home. Crowd finishes the show happy. And of course, Hendry on day one as champion gets a good spot with Matt Cardona. Cardona knows how to do this job. He's great. The match was fine. It was overbooked. It was very TNA WWE main event style, and that's just what they're leaning into right now.
I did love the Phantom of the Indies opera mask that he had going in there. Have you ever played Undertale, Joel?
No, but I am aware of its existence.
Okay, so you know Sans and his brother, the one with the really round head, half of that mask looked like it was part of the brother's round head, just with Matt Cardona on it. You can't. It's Sans, and I can't think of what the other brother's name.
Amazing. Well, I don't know it either, but it's I'm gonna let the chat take care of that.
You guys know what I'm talking about. If you played Undertale, Sans is the skinny one, the little brother. Okay. Anywho, this was a good match. I love Joe Hendry. Many more to Joe Hendry. I just fear for when Joe Hendry has to wrestle a Jake something who's just full of piss and vinegar.
Oh, so much piss. We got one more super chat from Dex Baker saying the WWE tribalism is toxic, but when those fans and talent on both sides are uniting to call you out, girl, apologize. It's exactly it. That's it. They're live from Full Sail next month, February 20th. That'll be a fun show. We're here every single Thursday talking about this show until it goes so far off the rails that we both say, forget it. We're done here. But for now, TNA, you survived another week on our show. We'll still talk about you next week. Cresta Star, what you got going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I love you in a parasocial sort of relationship way. That'd be cool if you parasocially followed me over on all forms of social media. Cresta Star, except for X, where it is Cresta the Star. I don't really post on there because you can find me on Blue Sky as well, Cresta Star. Every Wednesday, I am live over on Twitch. We watch AEW together. We talk wrestling. We play video games, and I talk to you. Every Thursday, I am here with the beautiful, illustrious, full beard, and the dad you never had, Joe Pearl.
God damn,
Fantastic.
never had?
Nah, you're so nice. My dad's a dick. I love him, but he's a dick. I mean, every Thursday talking about TNA, giving you unbiased, bias. We're just giving you opinions. And every Saturday, you can get more of my opinions with Iridian and Rick, and we go over all things Collision, like how we really use his haircuts, giving emo brother, and we're sick of him too, except Iridian. That's her guy. I think I've said too much. Cresta Star, all for social media. I love you. I appreciate you. If you find $20 on the floor, that's not illegal. Joe Pearl, where can the people find you?
You know that dog from Looney Tunes, the one with the shag down to his eyes? And then he does this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Wheeler Yuta looks like now.
Wheeler Yuta looks like, how could this happen to me? I'm so sick of him. I'm sick of him right now.
Cora Jade's brother is what you're saying.
I made my mistake.
Use that one tomorrow on In the Weeds. Jeremy Lambert and I are live 10 a.m. Eastern every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Fightful Overbook. That's our sister channel. Go subscribe to that channel right now if you haven't already. And of course, leave a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to this channel. Cresta and I are here every Thursday after this show, TNA Impact. But of course, I'm all over the place. Blue Sky at thejoelpearl.com. I don't really use Twitter anymore because, well, you know why. And of course, you can find me on everywhere else on Fightful. So just do that. Okay, I'm done. We're done. I'm good. You're good. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.